Okay, wow, so we're recording in UHD 60 frames a second. Look how smooth that pan is. It's almost like it's a daytime soap opera. The camera handling in soap operas reminds me of this. Anyways, so um, money's kind of coming to an end. I've got all the supplies purchased for the vehicle. I have all the supplies purchased for what I'm calling the studio, which is this area. Um, Also have the pop-up Soundstage speakers. So, this is a kind of a little mile marker, I guess, to kind of show where I'm at with the whole privacy screens project. So I'll kind of explain some of the changes and God damn, this looks good. All right, so shout out to Chris, DJ Delirium, who gave me the Sakai MPC 40 when I was meeting him on Facebook Marketplace to purchase an audio control epicenter for the car. He just gave that to me. Turns out his name was DJ Delirium, and I've DJ'd with this guy like 20 years ago on a boat party. So anyways, I digress. So I'm going to show, this represents 3 incarnations of the privacy screens, not including the car that came before Karma, Kiki the Content Cruiser. So the best I ever achieved with Kiki was effectively this. What you're looking at is a corrugated fiberboard from Home Depot. Got a big sheet of it and made imperfect cuts. These are actually pretty decent, but there's definitely some cracks and stuff. I would say around this, not super noticeable, and where this meets kind of the upper corner, there's definitely a little bit of light there, but for the most part, these are pretty decent. But this represents the next stage. So when I originally just took the corrugated fiberboard and put black contact paper on it for the Civic, when I did this car, my first attempt was to do something like this, where I take the black corrugated fiberboard, white corrugated fiberboard, put the contact paper on it, and then I don't know what this stuff is called, but it's like a thermal insulating shield. It's almost like a foam. On 2 sides of it is foil, and then I'm using ducting tape, so stuff they use for HVAC. So it's basically aluminum, but it's a tape. So super durable, reflects heat back. So when you get into the reflective side of things, that reflects the heat. Like, for instance, this is what was inside the vehicle. So that would reflect heat in, but I also have this on the outside, which reflects the heat out in the summer. And I'm actually just saying that. I don't, have any fact checking going on with that data. So, but I believe it would. I believe in the summer that it would reflect the sunlight, keeping it cooler in the vehicle. And even though that would keep the heat in, it would also keep the cool in. So if I use the AC or have a fan going or just shade in general, it'll be definitely lower temperature. So what I have is, I only had enough of this thermal insulating, sheet and then the tape to get the rear windows done. The passengers, which you don't really see there, and this one actually had a layer of that thermal insulating on the back, but it was kind of really thick to throw in to the car window. So this is kind of neat just because you have original, half finished basically finished. I love the way these look with that black stripe. And then this was the need to evolve because the versions that I had cut had serious light flooding in around here. Now these were really well built because they extended just a little bit past the plastic of the window, like the cutout in the trim where the window's on the other side. So this would kind of just, if you were looking from outside the car, you would see this. But my most recent set of modifications put black fabric on this side. Although it turned out like that was a really shoddy job as well. So this version was me taking those, because this still has, can't really see it, but I just bought a bunch of more contact paper. And what I did was I took the existing shape, which allowed a lot of light to come in around in many areas. And the idea about car camping, or, you know, they call it overlanding, they call it boondocking. I'm coming up with a different name for it. Oh, roadie dervishes. Road dervishes. So, like the whirling dervishes, dancers, hands to heaven, whatever. Anyway, so this, all I did was secure it, blacken it, because, you know, even when these are in, it looks kind of ghetto, and it's obvious someone is inside the vehicle. And the idea is that you're discreet. You don't want people knowing that you're camping, because then people just start finding reasons why you can't be there, even though you generally have 72 hours no matter where you park. A lot of messy Seattle, like, I guess, view destroying homeless encampments sprung up. And so people are kind of, I guess, I don't know, still traumatized by it. So, you know, I err on the side of, I would just rather people not know that I'm in there. You know, if they're going to know I'm in there, it's because, you know, cigarette or weed smoke is wafting out through some crack somewhere, or I'm watching a movie, or, you know, listening to a tutorial, or sometimes playing music. You know, but it gives you that level of privacy that, you know, I mean, get naked if you want. You know, have some sexy time if you wanted. So anyways, this repair actually did a really good job. But one thing I noticed is that the tape gets all scrunchy after several uses. This definitely completely blacked out the windows, heavily thermally insulating. So now I had the rear seat passenger windows and the rear quarter windows heavily insulated, reflective, all the right stuff. These, not as effective, but still better than nothing, and definitely good on the privacy. And so this is where we're at today. Now this black fabric I got at Goodwill, and right now it's adorning this chair that I also got from Goodwill. But this fabric is massive. And you can't really see it, but that rectangular something that sits back there is an entire piece of memory foam that I bought from Fred Meyer. So that's how I'm going to soften and build the bedding in the car, is with that massive piece of memory foam. And this. I don't have a sewing machine or know how to sew yet, but this is how I'm thinking I'm going to be able to make it look kind of professional without having to spend any more money on expensive supplies. Like, I'm going to do my best to make memory foam and Goodwill fabric look nice. So I'm still doing and I don't have video of this right now, but I've only got like half of the trunk done as far as like the Dynamat insulation goes. I have all that in the silver, and then that's the black, the second layer. So, you know, I've decided to pull everything out of the car and I've assembled a station. Oh yeah, by the way, so good buddy David Flood gave me that IKEA set of dressers, which I'm using as kind of this black trash bag. I believe I'm going to try and use on the rear window privacy screen, and we're going to get there in a second. That's the station right there and there. I got a neat little setup going, but I wanted to comment that Leslie had gotten in touch with me. Leslie's this gentleman that I met before getting evicted from the product Microloft, and this is actually a find from Goodwill as well. It's like a cowboy kick. I call it a cowboy kickstand, you know, because it's like, howdy partner, I'll have me a sarsaparilla. You know, but it also folds under. Boop. Right? So what I have is another piece of furniture Dave gave me, which is going to end up being 4 kind of like IKEA bays that I would put records in. But it also has, you know, cabinetry and stuff. And I was originally going to use this as my kind of like my podium for content, because I can have it be really wide and have a lot of table area that I'm working at and recording, or I can fold both of those up like that side. That side, as you can see, is folded up, and then the whole arm comes down. So really cool piece of furniture. And then Dave gave me that couch. And then Matt, who was storing my stuff, gave me that stand and that stand back. And this is a iron and redwood table with the original desk beneath it as my keyboard desk. But look at how beautiful this thing is. I'll pull this out. So I definitely had to get these back, because I'm going to set this. You know what? This is going to be tricky. I'm gonna kind of pull this out, but yeah, this is just a pan of the room in kind of assemble mode. So the space needs to be conducive for doing work. Computers are up and running. I've already got all of the programs loading in and updates done for all the schoolwork programs that I need to do. Little tiny computer. Look at that. That's my hand. 12th generation Intel 4-core, 8-thread, all performance cores, no efficiency cores, 64 gigs of RAM, 3.7 terabytes of storage. Almost all of it is NVMe M.2 speeds. Got some, basically some switches and some docking stations on the outside for extra connectivity. 2 22-inch Samsung monitors. So, iron table, 2 JBL Party Box 110s. Those things fucking rock. They are too loud for the apartment. Like I have to play them so quiet. And then I also have like the sound bar. So none of this sound can really be played in here. So it's more for show, and just because I've got to start making room. When Leslie had contacted me, and I was starting to talk about him a little bit ago, he was holding that piece of furniture and that piece of furniture. And then I grabbed the, my 2 battery boxes coming along. Pile of boxes. I've got the product pedestal back with a Samsung computer on it. That is a piece of history, which means the iron table that has been with that since time immemorial is sitting in that mini storage. And I thought that was it, but I also have what I call my Harry Potter bookcase, or my Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, my Narnia wardrobe. But it's massive. The wardrobe, no shit, is probably the size of that gray curtain, floor to ceiling. Maybe it'll probably take 6 inches down from the ceiling, from the top of that. But it's definitely about that wide. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get that in here? And then I've got an antique dresser. I mean, all of it's wood, and nice material, nice wood. It's not like fucking IKEA wood like these are. This is real wood. It's old school, hand built. So someone who wanted this all to be dance studio and didn't want to have, to mar that nice open expanse of just beautiful dance floor, and who didn't want to, get a bunch of physical belongings again, because I liked being lightweight, mobile. Now that I have a bunch of heavy metal and wood shit again. But as you can see, it's kind of a, even in like construction mode, it looks real nice in here. But I think the plan is going to be, and I've been wanting to do this anyway, that is a very, very lightweight metal frame beneath a very expensive full-size, or double, I guess, memory foam mattress that they gave me as a gift when I left basically the homeless transitional housing. So, and I might actually use this guy, because it's big, it's ugly in that it needs to be refinished. So it's not really, content ready yet. So I think the plan is, I've been wanting to elevate this at least halfway, which means that mirror is probably going to come down, because this is just the perfect area for a bed. But if I can elevate this high enough to where a chair about this height can roll under it, I'll duck the rest of the way. So as long as this chair, if I can raise that futon just above this chair, that's right about there. So with this thing, I could definitely anchor on one side, and I would imagine that would be the side that's probably going to face this way. So you'd walk down the hallway and come, right alongside this, and then have the bed on this, because this is super sturdy, which would support one end of it. And then I started eyeballing those guys, because they're the exact same height. And I mean, we don't have too far to go. Maybe 8 inches. And I have, oh, did I bring it in? Oh no, I got a shit ton of those little wooden blocks in the car. So I'm going to cut this video, and I want to talk about the privacy screens and why they're so important. But I also wanted to kind of give you a bird's eye of all the shit that's fucking coming into my possession now that I'm trying to juggle. Yep.